Gomorrah Season 1 is a gritty, unflinching portrayal of the brutal, bloody world of Italian organized crime. The show doesn't sugarcoat anything, no fake heroics, no glamorized mob life, no clear line between good and evil. Everyone acts purely out of self-interest. Ciro, nicknamed the Immortal, is a key figure in the Savastano crime family. For over 20 years, he's worked alongside Attilio, a mentor and father figure, in the criminal underworld. Tonight, they're on a secretive mission. Conte, the boss of the rival Salvatore family, is having dinner at his mother's house, with his crew guarding the building. Ciro and Attilio sneak into the basement parking garage with a can of gasoline, slip past the guards, and reach the door of Conte's mother's apartment. Ciro douses the door with gas, and Attilio lights a match, setting it ablaze. Conte notices, rallies his men, and hides his mother in the bathroom to wait for help. After leaving, Attilio calls the fire department. The conflict with Conte hasn't reached a point of no return, so this is just a warning. The Savastano family gathers for a meeting, led by the cold, calculating Pietro. We learn that the Salvatore family is a business partner, but lately, they've been encroaching on Savastano territory. That's why Pietro ordered Ciro and Attilio to teach Conte a lesson. Pietro is pleased, believing the fire will make Conte back off. He praises the duo but warns that if Conte doesn't comply, they won't be so lenient next time. After the meeting, Ciro is stopped by Genny, Pietro's spoiled, rich kid son. Raised alongside Ciro, Genny sees him as a close friend. Eager to prove himself, Genny wants in on the family's action, but Ciro tells him it's not the right time and encourages him to wait for his chance. Ciro and Attilio's families are tight, sharing a warm dinner together. But Ciro gets called away for a job. Attilio, too full to join, stays behind, a choice that unknowingly saves him. Italian mob vengeance is ruthless. After the fire at Conte's mother's door, Ciro heads to a restaurant for a routine deal. Suddenly, gunfire erupts, and his contact is killed. A seasoned survivor, Ciro dives under a table. The assassin tosses a grenade his way, followed by another. The blasts send a motorcycle outside crashing, but Ciro, true to his immortal nickname, emerges unscathed, just a bit dirty. He stumbles away before the cops arrive. Furious, Pietro calls an emergency meeting. He's enraged that they showed Conte mercy, yet he dared to strike back, declaring no more negotiations. Pietro orders Conte's death. A key member discovers Conte is hiding at his warehouse, though Renato, another lieutenant, warns that the warehouse is heavily guarded and a war could be costly, and Genny suggests careful planning. Pietro insists on immediate action. Ciro and Attilio scout the warehouse, confirming tight security. Ciro suspects Pietro's plan is a trap, but Attilio shuts him down, insisting Pietro is never wrong. In another meeting, Renato arrives late, reporting that Pietro has ordered an attack tonight. Despite the risks, the boss's word is final, and everyone prepares. Genny begs Ciro to let him join to prove himself, but Ciro says it's too dangerous and Pietro won't allow it. Genny pleads with his father, but Pietro, well aware of his son's limits, tells him to stay out of it. Attilio, Ciro, Renato, and their crew, armed with Alaska 47s, head to Conte's warehouse. Meanwhile, Genny, frustrated at being sidelined, rides his motorcycle to a bar in rival territory to blow off steam. After nearly fighting over a girl, he leaves, only to find his beloved bike smashed. Renato's team rams the warehouse gate, guns blazing, kicking off the battle. Renato fires relentlessly, drawing enemy fire, while Ciro and Attilio sneak in through the back wall, hunting for Conte. Ciro storms an office, kills a guard, but finds an open window. Conte has escaped. During the assault, one of Attilio's men is killed. Attilio is spotted, takes 2 bullets to the neck despite his vest, and dies instantly. Ciro, devastated, cradles his body. Renato pulls him away. The mission fails, only 2 of the 6 survive. Reporting to Pietro, Ciro is stunned by his boss's indifference to the losses, fixated only on Conte's escape. Noticing Ciro's distress, Pietro offers half-hearted condolences, promising to care for the fallen men's families. As the Salvatore conflict lingers, trouble brews for the Savastanos. Genny goes to the docks to pick up a shipment, but the police, tipped off, seize 400 kilos of drugs. The precise intel suggests a mole. Pietro meets his police informant, who reveals a cop infiltrated the Savastano family, but their identity remains unknown. In the next meeting, Pietro grows suspicious of Renato, who was recently arrested and late to the meeting. Renato explains that Genny caused trouble. Ima, Pietro's wife, wakes Genny, who's sleeping like a log. It turns out Genny, furious about his wrecked bike, smashed every car outside the rival bar and spray-painted insults on the walls. Pietro is exasperated by his son's recklessness. Pietro negotiates with Casavatore, the head of another family. Though they were once close, Augusto, Casavatore's son, now runs things and shows no respect for Pietro. Augusto demands compensation and forces Genny to personally paint over the insulting graffiti. Feeling humiliated, Pietro is furious that a young punk like Augusto dares to disrespect him. He cuts off negotiations and, as he leaves, orders his men to find the right moment to kill Augusto. The news reports a massive drug bust, giving Pietro a bad feeling. Surrounded by enemies within and outside, he suspects the government is targeting him. His biggest worry is Genny, his useless son, who can't handle the family's responsibilities if something happens to him. Attilio's funeral is held in secret due to his criminal ties, with plainclothes cops watching. Ciro and Genny can only observe from a distance. Ciro is heartbroken. Attilio raised him since he was 10, an orphan who saw Attilio as a father. Pietro's police informant says the tipster who exposed the drug shipment is heavily protected, their identity untraceable, but it's clear a key Savastano member betrayed them. Renato, Zecchinetta, and Malamor are sent to kill Augusto. Renato, visibly upset, demands the car stop and refuses to join. Zecchinetta and Malamor learn Augusto is with his mistress, posing as cops. They burst in, caught off guard. Augusto never expected to die over a petty dispute. Malamor shoots him dead. Meanwhile, Pietro sits brooding in his garden. His wife, Ima, asks what's wrong. Pietro feels everything is going wrong, and with the government closing in, he fears the worst. Their biggest concern is that Genny can't lead the family if Pietro falls. Pietro summons Ciro, who's served him since childhood and is close to Genny. He orders that if anything happens to him, Genny will take over, but since Genny lacks experience and respect, Ciro must loyally support him. Pietro wants Ciro to take Genny on a mission to draw blood as his first step into mob life. Reluctantly, Ciro agrees. Pietro promises that if Genny becomes boss, Ciro will be second in command. Ciro takes Genny to perform the mob's rite of passage, using a package as bait. Genny can't stomach it. Knowing he can't report failure, Ciro tells Genny to lie to Pietro, claiming he shot the target. Back home, Genny tells Pietro he killed the man with one shot. Pietro, pleased, gifts him a new motorcycle as a reward, but when asked how many shots, Genny's one raises Pietro's suspicions. Despite the crew's praise for his sleek new bike, Genny feels empty. After dealing with Genny, Pietro calls Malamor, who confirms Augusto's death but reports Renato bailed mid-mission. Pietro confronts Renato, who brushes it off, saying the job didn't need him and he was busy collecting money. Pietro, increasingly paranoid, finds Renato's behavior suspicious. Without proof but unable to hold back, he attacks Renato, beating him to death with a decorative object. Pietro washes off the blood, takes Renato's jacket and money bag, and orders his men to burn the body. That night, the family celebrates Augusto's death and Genny's rite of passage. When Pietro declares Renato the traitor, everyone is shocked. Renato served him for 20 years. Convinced he's right, Pietro grows more paranoid, feeling no one understands him. To test loyalty, he urinates in a cup in front of everyone and forces Ciro to drink it. Suspecting Ciro lied about Genny's task, gritting his teeth, Ciro chokes down the liquid, suppressing nausea. Guilt-ridden, Genny visits the site of the man's death, setting up a small shrine to ease his conscience. To vent, he races his new bike, but ignoring a red light, he crashes into a car and hits the ground hard. Meanwhile, Pietro meets his police informant, who reveals the undercover cop in the family contacted them again, meaning Renato wasn't the mole. On his way home, Pietro learns of Genny's accident. At a payphone, Ciro pulls out a paper. Attilio's death made him lose faith in Pietro, and he's the real informant, but hearing about Genny, he rushes to the hospital. Speeding to the hospital, Pietro is stopped by police. They find the money bag in Renato's jacket and a packet of white powder. Despite his protests, Pietro is arrested. At the hospital, the family awaits Genny's condition. Hearing Pietro's arrest, Ima tells Ciro to contact the family's lawyer. Recalling Pietro's promise of being second in command, Ciro burns the informant's phone number, abandoning his role as a snitch. In jail, Pietro is roughed up by a guard but quickly earns respect from inmates, who see him as a legend. They clear a bunk for him, and he becomes the block's boss. Frustrated by no outside contact, Pietro gets a phone smuggled in by Ciro through a friendly guard. Learning Genny will recover, he's relieved, but hears the war with the Salvatore family has cut off their drug supply. Pietro orders his men to contact a new supplier and wait for his call that afternoon, but back in his cell, as they prepare for dinner, a guard conducts a surprise inspection. Ciro and Zecchinetta meet the new supplier, who's eager to work with the Savastano family. However, with the ongoing war against the Salvatore family and Pietro in jail, partnering with the Savastanos means crossing the Salvatores. The supplier, nervous, demands Pietro personally called to guarantee protection. Ciro assures them Pietro will call that evening. The warden finds Pietro's phone, scolds him for not behaving, confiscates it, and throws him in solitary for a day. Ciro waits until night, but Pietro doesn't call. The supplier, out of patience, leaves, costing the Savastanos their new supply line. Released from solitary, Pietro, used to calling the shots, can't swallow the insult. He rallies his men to cause trouble, with their boss leading. Other inmates join in, plunging the prison into chaos. The warden, with no other option, locks down the cells. On visiting day, Genny, just out of the hospital, and Ima visit Pietro. He instructs them to find a new supplier and orders Ciro to meet his financial advisor to secure the family's funds. Ciro starts mentoring Genny in the family business, teaching him how to move and launder money. They meet the advisor with $20 million. The advisor suggests buying Finnish government bonds, easily convertible to cash. Unfamiliar with finance, Ciro and Genny agree. Tokumbo, a member of an African drug gang under Savastano control, rides a bicycle, ignoring curious stares, and waits by the road. When a police car approaches, he smashes the bike into its windshield to get arrested. The African gang, forced to give 50% of profits to the Savastanos, is fed up. With Pietro in jail, they send Tokumbo to negotiate directly. Tokumbo approaches Pietro respectfully, but Pietro mocks him, refusing to talk. The lawyer brings bad news. The government has long targeted Pietro, and with his arrest, they're gathering evidence, making bail impossible. Tokumbo tries again, offering to pay only 10% profit due to the dangerous work. Already furious about the bail denial, Pietro berates Tokumbo. Learning of the failed talks, the African gang meets Malamor and Zecchinetta, declaring they'll pay whatever they want until Pietro negotiates. This enrages Malamor and Zecchinetta. Pietro orders Ciro to take men to the African gang's territory to teach them a lesson, bringing Genny along to toughen him up. Ciro and Genny sneak into the African gang's slum to scope it out. Genny suggests ideas that differ from Pietro's, surprising Ciro. In prison, Tokumbo, more determined, tells Pietro through his men that they won't pay a cent. Pietro decides to target Tokumbo's crew in jail. As inmates line up to return to their cells, Pietro's man stabs one of Tokumbo's, then walks away. Seeing his man in pain, Tokumbo declares war. Using a toothbrush and razor, he crafts a sharp blade. While Pietro's man showers, Tokumbo sneaks in, slashing him repeatedly, leaving him screaming in a pool of blood. In the slum, the African gang operates as usual when two police cars roll up. Ciro and Malamor, disguised as cops, lead their crew in a shooting spree, mowing down anyone in sight. The African gang, caught off guard, scatters in panic, bodies littering the ground. Ciro and Malamor storm a building, continuing the massacre. Genny, following Ciro's orders, stays in the car to watch. They escape before real cops arrive. Traumatized by the slaughter, Genny vomits uncontrollably at home. Ima, seeing her son's weakness, despairs at his failure to toughen up. In prison, frequent violence prompts the warden to blame Pietro and put him back in solitary, banning visitors. Pietro taunts that the prison can't function without him. Sure enough, his men target Tokumbo. But Tokumbo, battle-hardened, strikes first, injuring Pietro's man and killing another, sparking more chaos. The African gang, decimated, surrenders and resumes payments. Mocked by Malamor, their boss stays silent. Exasperated by the constant fights, the warden releases Pietro but locks all inmates in their cells, banning yard time. Pietro, defiant, rallies his men to keep causing trouble. The warden plays a risky move, putting Tokumbo and Pietro in the same cell to settle their feud. But Tokumbo knows his gang can't win. Pietro compromises, demanding only 30% profit, on the condition that Tocumbo's men help him stir up trouble to pressure the warden. The next day, as inmates line up to return to their cells, Pietro signals Tocumbo. The prisoners revolt, overpowering guards and plunging the prison into chaos. They block exits with bed frames and tables, set mattresses on fire, and shout wildly. Pietro stands in the center, waiting for the warden. Panicked, the warden grabs a megaphone to negotiate. Pietro, knowing his plan worked, orders his men to stand down for talks. Pietro bribes a prison guard, both smug with their success. The warden, realizing who's boss, gives Pietro a new phone, a move that sets him on an irreversible path. Pietro calls his crew, praising their attack on the African gang and urging them to find a new drug supplier since the Salvatore family cut them off. The next day, Pietro thinks he's in control, but the warden tells him to meet his lawyer. The lawyer delivers devastating news. Pietro is being transferred to Italy's most secure prison. The guard's phone was a trap, bugged to record Pietro ordering the African gang's destruction and drug deals. With solid evidence, he's likely stuck in prison for life. Pietro rages but is powerless. While Pietro suffers in jail, Genny lives freely, partying with sports cars and women. Frustrated by Genny's recklessness, Ciro scolds him. With Pietro down, Genny is the boss and must stop fooling around to secure a new supply. Secretly, Ciro wants Genny to take over so he can be second in command. Genny genuinely wants to step up. He and Ima meet the financial advisor to withdraw cash for drugs. The advisor, outwardly respectful, claims the money is tied up in government bonds and can't be accessed quickly, clearly dismissing them. With no supply, the Savastano family faces a crisis. Ima makes a bold move. She orders Ciro to Spain to negotiate with Conte, the Salvatore family boss, for drugs. Ciro is stunned. He burned Conte's mother's house and attacked his warehouse, meeting him now as suicide. But Ima's mind is made up, and Ciro can't refuse. Ima also sends Genny to Honduras to meet another drug lord. If Genny secures the deal, their family's position will be unshakable. Ciro complains to Genny that Ima's orders are too dangerous and Genny is the boss, not her. Tired of Ciro's constant guidance, Genny snaps, telling him to follow orders if he sees Genny as the leader. Ima and Genny confront the advisor, who panics, repeating that the money is in bonds. When the advisor's daughter comes home, Ima and Genny devise a plan. They discover the advisor embezzled family funds. Furious, Genny agrees with Ima to eliminate him. The advisor, exposed, begs for mercy. Ima demands he return the money and kill himself, or his family, including his daughter, will die. It's his daughter's 18th birthday. Thinking Pietro's arrest covered his tracks, the advisor chooses death to save his family. With the money recovered, Genny drives Ciro to the airport. Ciro, knowing the meeting with Conte is perilous, is reassured by Genny that success will make them kings of the Savastano family. In Spain, Ciro is nervous. Massimo, Conte's driver, picks him up. On a yacht, Conte disarms Ciro, holds a knife to his throat, and calls out his past attacks, then pushes him into the sea and leaves. Genny prepares to go to Honduras alone. Ima and the family's key members brief him, saying success will make him boss. Knowing the trip's dangers, Genny tries calling Ciro, but there's no answer. Meanwhile, the immortal Ciro swims for hours until Conte sends a boat to rescue him. Meeting again, Conte, impressed by Ciro's survival, agrees to talk. Ciro notes Conte hates Pietro, but with Pietro in jail, Genny could lead. Conte scoffs, saying Genny's head is only good for keeping his ears apart. They talk from a bar to Conte's house, but Conte remains non-committal. Gunfire erupts, Conte's enemies attack. They hide until the shooter flees. Unable to reach Ciro, Genny grows uneasy but heads to Honduras with his crew's send-off. Ciro learns Conte's fighting another family over territory, with heavy losses but no victor. Conte wants peace but knows his men will die, so he tasks Ciro with negotiating a 6-4 territory split. Conte gets 6. Ciro is floored. Conte's men can't die, so he risks Ciro. Conte smiles. If Ciro pulls it off and survives, he'll supply the Savastanos. Massimo drives Ciro to the rival's turf. Trembling, Ciro pitches cooperation. The rival boss, unwilling to share, orders his death. Ciro argues that war hurts business, suggesting a 50-50 split. The boss, intrigued, agrees but forces Ciro to play Russian roulette with 3 bullets. If he lives, they'll deal. Ciro, knowing refusal means death, pulls the trigger. True to his immortal nickname, he survives. The boss laughs, agreeing to the deal, though not the 6-4 split. It's a start. Impressed, Conte offers Ciro a job, but Ciro, eyeing the number 2 spot with Genny, declines. Conte respects it, and they shake on the partnership. Back home, Ciro wants to find Genny, but the crew says he's gone. Ima and Genny kept the Honduras trip secret. On visiting day, Pietro eagerly asks about the outside. Ima coldly declares he'll never get out and the family is now hers. Pietro realizes Ima aims to be the new boss. With Conte's drugs, Ima's business thrives. Genny calls, saying the Honduras drug lord is erratic and brutal, nearly killing him multiple times. Since they have Cirola's supply, Genny wants to return, but Ima refuses, demanding he secure the deal first, then hangs up. Ima holds a family meeting to expand drug territory. The key members are shocked Ciro isn't there. Ima says she didn't invite him, leaving everyone puzzled. After the meeting, Ciro confronts Ima, furious that she's sidelining him despite his life-risking deal. Ima brushes him off, saying she'll give him work, then leaves. Ima opens a new slum, perfect for drug dealing, and assigns Ciro to manage it. Ciro is stunned. It's grunt work. Ima snaps that he is a grunt. Ciro, enraged, realizes Ima resents his closeness to Genny. If Genny doesn't return, Ima will oust him. With no choice, Ciro manages the slum with his crew. Business runs smoothly, but doing low-level work infuriates him. Ima stops talking to Ciro directly, sending kids to relay orders, cutting him from the inner circle. Italian mob revenge strikes fast. While Ciro assigns tasks, a bomb explodes his car. The immortal escapes again. In an emergency meeting, the lieutenants say their prices angered rivals. Ciro wants to handle it himself, but Ima orders him back to the slum, saying she'll send others. Ciro slams the table in frustration. On an ordinary day, Malamor and his crew hit a soccer field where a rival family's men watch their kids play. Using silenced guns, they killed 2. Here, the mob is just another business, and the cycle of vengeance begins. A tough female crew member of Ima's, trying on a dress, is killed by a rival assassin. Ima pushes for peace talks, but the lieutenants object, saying it shows weakness and hurts the family's reputation. Ciro, fed up, demands to know where Genny is. Ima snaps that it's none of his business, warning him not to think Genny's return will let him run wild, and kicks him out. Ima meets the rival family, offering to supply drugs for mutual profit, ending the war. At midnight, Ima hears a noise. Checking cautiously, she finds Genny at the door, his look and demeanor transformed. His first words, "I should kill you." For 3 days, Genny reconnects with old crew members. Ciro, thrilled Genny's back, expects his promised number 2 spot, but Genny is cold, ordering Ciro to keep managing the slum, leaving him stunned. In a talk with Ima, Genny blames her for nearly getting him killed and stealing his role as boss, fueling his hatred. In a family meeting, Genny declares himself the leader, demanding all reports go through him. Everyone thanks him. The Honduras drugs let them dominate the market. Genny's transformation shocks them. During the meeting, a restaurant worker recognizes Genny as a high school friend, admiring his success. Thinking their bond remains, he mentions Genny's old nickname in front of everyone, angering him. Genny tells him to wait to catch up later. Malamor defends Ciro, saying he was sidelined by Ima despite years serving Pietro. Genny cuts them off, refusing to discuss it, and announces a plan to install their man as mayor to protect the business. Zekineta doubts it's feasible, but Genny insists he'll handle it alone. Everyone senses something off with Genny's new demeanor. Gunshots ring out. Genny, enraged by his friend's joke, kills him and coldly asks Ciro if he's still the weak kid too scared to shoot. He orders the body disposed of. Ciro, baffled by Genny's change, questions the broken promise of being number 2. Genny says he always followed Ciro, but now he must change to earn respect. From now on, he calls the shots, and old-timers like Ciro are obsolete. Genny backs Michelle for mayor, using threats and bribes. The incumbent mayor, furious, steals Michelle's campaign files. Michelle reports to Genny, who berates him, then smashes the mayor's desk with a baseball bat, leaving him powerless. Daniele, a motorcycle mechanic bullied by Genny's men, is approached by Ciro, who, sidelined by Ima, plots revenge. Genny busies himself with the election, meeting high-ranking officials through Pietro's connections. Ima, now wary of Genny, arranges official meetings and campaign events. Ciro helps eliminate Michelle's rivals with violence or threats. Through relentless effort, Michelle wins the mayoral election, pleasing Genny, who proves he can handle big tasks alone. As the Savastano boss, Genny holds meetings where Ciro sits in a far corner, fueling his resentment. Planning revenge, Ciro gives Daniele a bag with cash and a gun. The excited 16-year-old doesn't realize he's on a dark, one-way path. Ciro, on Genny's orders, carries out an assassination, bringing Daniele to observe and toughen him up. Afterward, he reports to Genny, who calls him a good soldier. The remark stings. Ciro realizes they see him as a lifelong grunt with no chance to rise. Ciro lures Daniele, teaching him to use a gun. At 16, Daniele is naive, thinking Ciro is mentoring him, unaware of his sinister motives. Ciro points out a man managing the Salvatore family's business, lying that he's a nobody, and tells Daniele to kill him to prove his courage. Ciro's real goal is to spark a war between Genny and the Salvatores. Daniele sneaks into a Salvatore warehouse, finds the man, and shoots him dead without a word. After the hit, Daniele takes his girlfriend Manu out. Watching the news, he's shocked to learn the man wasn't a nobody but a key Savastano member. Daniele calls Ciro, demanding why he was lied to. Ciro tells him to come home, promising money to flee. At home, Daniele sees Ciro's men waiting, eavesdropping. He learns Ciro plans to kill him to cover his tracks. Terrified, Daniele turns off his phone and hides in a junkyard. Manu, unable to reach Daniele, keeps calling, getting only voicemail. Ciro, desperate to silence Daniele, lures Manu to a warehouse, torturing her to reveal his location. Conte, learning his man was killed, suspects the Savastanos and plans to return to Italy to investigate. Daniele, sneaking out to eat, sees news of a girl brutally murdered. Recognizing Manu's ring at the scene, he knows it's her. Genny and Ima, hearing of the killing, are confused, unaware of the culprit but certain the Salvatores will blame them. Conte returns to Italy. Massimo, his driver, is Daniele's brother. As tensions rise, Ciro strikes first, half-truthfully telling Genny that Daniele did the hit. Genny orders Ciro to find Daniele, saying if it's true, the Savastanos are already implicated. Hunted by Ciro, Daniele, desperate, calls Massimo, confessing everything. Massimo, knowing Daniele faces death, makes a crazy move. He sneaks into Conte's room at night, planning to kill him with a club to end the problem. But Conte, ever vigilant, overpowers him. Learning the truth, Conte is exasperated that Massimo thought killing him would solve things. He tells Massimo to take him to Daniele, promising to save him. Trusting Conte, Massimo calls to get Daniele's location. Conte reassures him, citing his loyal service, promising money to vanish with his family after. At the meeting, Conte tells Massimo to stay in the car and approaches Daniele, who admits Ciro ordered the hit. Conte claims to forgive him, but when Daniele lets his guard down, Conte shoots him dead, then turns and shoots Massimo. Massimo tries to flee but, wounded, dies in the car. Though not a formal member, Genny holds a grand funeral for Daniele per mob rules. Watching the burial, Ciro feels no guilt, only relief that his role is safe. Genny holds a family meeting. Unclear why Daniele killed the Salvatore man, he knows Conte won't let it slide and suggests striking first. The old and new factions clash. Zecchinetta argues Ciro's deal with Conte was hard-won, and Conte may not know they're involved. War would hurt business. The new faction demands war, frustrating the old guard, who walk out. Knowing Genny, Ciro fans the flames, saying Zecchinetta disrespects him and wouldn't dare if Pietro were here. Genny, stung, orders the old guard's elimination. His men ambush Zecchinetta at home while he cooks, torturing him brutally before a fatal shot. Zecchinetta, Genny's godfather, never expected betrayal. Conte gathers families hostile to the Savastanos, proposing they seize their territory and split profits. 3 Savastano lieutenants, fed up with Genny, meet Conte, who promises to preserve their turf if they topple Genny. They hold a secret meeting, enraged by Genny's disrespect and Zecchinetta's murder, deciding to join Conte. Malamor, loyal to Pietro, suggests Ciro, Genny's childhood friend, negotiate with him. Ciro, craving war, tells Genny the lieutenants betrayed him to Conte. Genny, seeing the dire situation, visits Pietro in prison for advice, but the maximum security prison has left Pietro dazed and unresponsive. Genny orders his men to wait for his return before acting, but they move early to intimidate the old guard. They go to Malamor's building, demanding he come down via radio. Malamor refuses. They weld another lieutenant's door shut, mock him, and burn bedsheets hanging outside. When the lieutenant peeks out, they fire, forcing him to hide. Satisfied, they leave. Retaliation strikes fast. a key Genny man, driving casually, is shot dead by two men, who fire extra rounds to ensure he's gone. As tensions spiral, Malamor and other old guard members hide their families, fearing Genny's next move. Genny, realizing internal fighting weakens them against external enemies, holds a meeting, hiding Pietro's condition. He sternly says Pietro wants unity to fight Conte and apologizes for disrespecting the old guard. They suspect it's a stalling tactic, believing Genny will turn on them after Conte. Asking Ciro, he urges contacting Conte to take Genny down, warning they'll otherwise be killed. Ciro, believing his plan to have Daniele kill a Savastano member went smoothly, is blindsided when Manu, Daniele's girlfriend, unable to reach him, switches from calls to voicemails. When Ciro picks her up, her phone, still recording, captures their conversation. Ima gets Manu's phone, hears the voicemail, and discovers Ciro orchestrated everything. At home, she copies the voicemail to a disk, instructing the housekeeper to give it to Genny if anything happens to her. Confronting Ciro, she plays the recording. Terrified of being exposed, Ciro listens as Ima offers to keep it from Genny if he helps her. She orders him to join Conte, reveal her and Genny's location, and urge Conte to attack, setting a trap for Conte. Ima threatens that if Ciro betrays her, the housekeeper will give the disc copy to Genny. But Ima underestimates Ciro's ruthlessness. As she leaves, his assassin follows, shooting her dead in broad daylight. Ciro sends men to kill the housekeeper, retrieve, and destroy the disc. He then meets Conte, reporting the Savastano family's collapse and urging him to strike. Pietro, diagnosed with dementia, is said to be transferred to a nursing home. Devastated by Ima's death, Genny feels alone, his once perfect family shattered. Sorting through Ima's belongings, he finds another disc. Ima had made a second copy of the voicemail. Listening, Genny learns Ciro masterminded everything and killed his mother. Genny brings Ciro to Ima's funeral. Talking, Ciro senses something's off. With the entire family present, he notices Genny's icy stare and realizes he's exposed. Amid the crowd, Ciro grabs his wife and flees. At home, he urges his family to pack, warning they must leave now. Genny has ordered Ciro's death. As they pack, a swarm of motorcycle-riding assassins arrives. Spotting them from the balcony, Ciro leads his family up the stairs to the rooftop, climbing over railings to the next building. The assassins storm in, search, and find no one, realizing Ciro escaped next door. Genny targets not just Ciro but all old guard lieutenants. His new faction slaughters them. Lieutenants returning from Ima's funeral are ambushed and shot dead at home. Two others, driving, are gunned down by assassins. Genny is determined to wipe out the old guard. Malamor, cautious after a prior attack, returns home alert. Sensing danger, he tells his family to get back in the car and draws his gun. When assassins open fire, Malamor takes cover behind a pillar, shooting back. His wife drives up. Though hit, Malamor jumps in. She reverses fast, saving him. Except for Malamor and Ciro, the old guard is eliminated. Fearing retaliation from survivors and Conte's attack, Genny hides with his men in an abandoned building, heavily armed and guarded, planning their next move. He offers €150,000 for Ciro's head and plots a sneak attack on the Salvatores. Ciro secures his family in a safe place, promising to handle everything. In the abandoned building, Genny's crew hears a noise outside. A man fires wildly, thinking it's an attack, startling everyone. It's just a dog. The dog's owner, a boy, wails. Annoyed at his men, Genny buys the boy a gaming console that night to apologize. The boy's mother, wary, tells him to avoid these men, but in this world, kids often end up in the mob. On orders, masked assassins leap from trucks, guns blazing. Another group joins the fray. In a tunnel, Genny's young crew is trapped in a car. Assassins fire relentlessly, giving no chance to escape. Nearly all of Genny's armed forces are wiped out, his key men killed on the spot. It's all Ciro's scheme. A day earlier, Ciro, after securing his family's hideout, tells his men Genny is hunting him everywhere. He decides to meet Conte to team up against Genny. Alone at Conte's turf, Ciro pitches an alliance, but Conte brushes him off. Since Ciro ordered Daniele to kill Conte's man, Conte spared him only for his usefulness. Now, with Ciro hunted by Genny like a stray dog, he's worthless to Conte. Despite Ciro's pleas, Conte orders his men to act. In the Italian mob, killing is as routine as slaughtering a chicken. Conte's men lay out a white tarp, and Conte grabs a kitchen knife. They tie Ciro to a chair, and Conte holds the blade to his throat. Desperate to survive, Ciro says he knows Genny's plans and can lure him out, guaranteeing Conte can take down his crew. Conte agrees. Ciro arranges for a man to bring his daughter to Genny's men, claiming she's in a choir competition. As is Ciro's daughter, he offers to reveal the time and place for payment. Genny's men gear up, ready to kill Ciro. Genny warns that a kid's choir event requires subtlety. He'll blend in with a child, while his men watch outside, shooting if Ciro's people appear, then moving to hit Conte. Genny visits the boy he gave a gaming console to. Despite the mother's protests, the boy, shaped by this harsh world, breaks free and goes with Genny. Genny's crew heads out but, as seen earlier, gets ambushed in a tunnel by a truck and gunned down. Genny, delayed by fetching the boy, avoids the massacre. The Salvatore's sneak attack wipes out Genny's men. Checking the bodies, they find no Genny. A surviving man, interrogated, reveals nothing. Conte calls Ciro, saying Genny wasn't in the convoy and is at the choir competition with the boy. Sensing danger, Ciro tells his wife to take their daughter and leave, while he heads out to check. Genny, with the boy, easily enters the venue due to the child. Searching, he spots Ciro's wife and daughter. At the same time, Ciro sees Genny. Lifelong friends turned bitter enemies, they point guns at each other, locking eyes. Ciro fires first, a split second faster, then shoots again, dropping Genny, his fate unclear. Ciro approaches. Despite their enmity, their past bond stops him from firing a final shot. He grabs his daughter, urging his wife to flee. Terrified, his wife refuses to go with him, taking their daughter alone. Ciro tells his men Genny is dead, leaving only Pietro. In prison, Pietro, faking dementia, is escorted to a nursing home. Halfway, a tanker blocks the road. Masked men spray the police van with bullets, killing the escorts. They detonate a small bomb to open the back, shooting the remaining guards. Pietro, expressionless throughout, comes alive when a masked man reveals himself as Malamor, who survived to rescue him. Pietro's dementia was a ruse. They jump into another car and escape. At the choir competition, Genny lies still, but his finger twitches. He's alive. This is the full recap of Season 1 of Gomorrah. Want us to cover the next seasons? Let us know in the comments below. If enough of you are interested, we'll keep going. Thanks for following along. Goodbye and see you next time.